Hi, Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and here's another interview in my series of interviews with subscribers. Enjoy!
Okay.
Okay, great. So this is our first interview with one of my subscribers on the Idiot Quilter. This is Yvonne McNeil, and we're just going to go through a few questions and chat about our experiences, well, more so about Yvonne's experiences as a quilter. And just off the bat, so it's Yvonne McNeil, and you are located where?
In Gibbons, Alberta, just about 20 minutes north of Edmonton.
Oh, okay. So you're up in the frozen north. In
Yeah.
comparison to where I live in Ontario, we're very balmy weather, whereas, well,
Yeah.
we're the Florida.
It's been like that the last couple of days here. I had to turn on the air conditioner.
Yeah, actually, we've been kind of on the more cool side, but yesterday and today, this temperature's been slowly creeping up. So, yay, summer
Yeah.
for the 2 weeks we get it for. Okay, so let's get right into it. So let's start right off with how did you get started in quilting, and how long have you been quilting?
I've been quilting for probably about 20 years. My mother, bless her heart, got me involved in it. And I just saw her using, she had a Janome 6500, what do you call it? Mastercraft or professional or whatever the heck it's called.
All
And
right.
so I started using that machine when I would go to visit her. And then, of course, I had to buy one of my own because I knew how that one worked.
Yeah.
And then it was into that deep spiral down of buying fabric and notions and all the rest of it. It's been a very expensive hobby, but I am so happy to have it.
Yeah, I know. I know what you mean about the expense of it for sure. You need to take out a small or a second mortgage on your house some days, I think.
Yeah.
But okay, so next question then is, so I guess you've already kind of answered that. Did anyone in your family influence you? Well, I guess that one you've already covered. So let's go to what's your favorite? No, I'm going to jump to what type of quilter would you describe yourself as? A traditional or modern or?
Um, I think both because I just finished this one here
Well, that's
is
nice.
a sampler quilt. So that would be considered traditional.
Right.
But I've also done several pieces of modern quilt, what I would consider modern quilting, and I could show you one if you like.
Sure, that'd be great.
So
Look,
it just all depends on my frame of mind at the time as to what I'm going to do because I see something and I'm just like a squirrel. I just have to make changes and then turn it into something for myself.
yep.
So this one,
Well, that's really nice too.
this is that I think I sent a picture of the top, but now it's quilted.
Yeah, you did. You
Uh,
did send me one, but that's
yeah,
really
this is
nice.
the one with the bounce sheets in it. So
Oh, that's right.
I still have to bury the threads, and I want to do a little bit of probably wavy line quilting in the black part here,
Hmm.
and then I can bind it and it'll be done. This
Yeah.
one's going to my mom for Christmas. She loved it when she saw it.
Now, when you say you used bounce sheets in that, you use that as a your foundation
Yeah,
for like sort of foundation piecing.
yeah, yeah. It
Now
it
that's
makes it really nice. It's easy because then all of your blocks are going to be the same the same size
mm,
because you just trim
right,
according to that. So
and you're there. You leave those right in the quilt when you're done.
yeah, makes it
Yeah.
smell nice too.
I was going to say, yeah, it would make it smell really nice too.
Yeah,
That's a great idea. I'll have to give that a try because I hate pulling all that paper off afterwards
yeah.
and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's a cool idea. It would be
It's
almost it would almost be like a sort of light interfacing. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's used bounce sheets. You don't use like brand new ones. So
Oh, okay.
just as my laundry is finished, I pull them
Yeah.
out and they're good to go.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you said that because I would have used brand new bounce sheets
Well,
in
you
it.
can. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just this was a way of not throwing them in the garbage. I
Yeah.
don't like to throw something in the garbage that I can reuse. As a matter of fact, I've started collecting my laundry lint, believe it or not, because I've got some pretty colorful stuff.
Yeah.
So I made a wall hanging for a friend from work when she retired, and she was from Labrador. So I did an Inukshuk with the Northern Lights sky behind it.
Right.
And I used all kinds of stuff in that. There was ribbons and laundry lint and old threads and all that kind of stuff. It was gorgeous, beautiful. And I
Yeah.
wish I would have taken a picture of it.
Yeah, really. That's a really interesting idea. Now,
Yeah.
of course, that was like for a wall hanging, so you weren't going to wash it because if
Oh,
you
no.
washed it with the dryer lint in it, it would just all.
You'd lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a cool idea. I really like that. And
Yeah.
like you said, with the bounce sheets, using used ones up that way, yeah, you're recycling too. So this works on a lot of levels here.
Oh, yeah, for
Really?
sure.
That's cool. Okay, well, let's move on to my next question. So, what is your absolutely favorite thing you have made in your journey?
That one is really difficult. Probably my first thing I made, and I made it for my mom. It was, I don't know if you heard of Red Hat Lady before. It's ladies
No.
that wear red hats.
Oh yeah, the red hat. I thought you said red cat.
Yeah,
red hat.
no,
Yeah, I have.
Red Hat Lady. So I made a wall hanging, my first one, and I've taken a look at it since. And of course, at the time, I was very, very green. I made a lot of mistakes in it. But I found the poem that the Red Hat Ladies say, and I transferred it onto the back of that wall hanging, and I gave that to my mom. And I think that's probably my favorite one that I did, even though it's full of mistakes, just because it really got me more involved into building things instead of sewing clothing or whatever, but more into the quilting part.
Yeah, I think some people might translate the answer to that question about your favorite creation as which one was your most perfect. But it doesn't have to be your most perfect. My favorite creations are not my best jobs, but they're either things that mean something to you or they bring up certain memories or something like that. Okay, so my next question here is describe your sewing area.
Well, I live alone, so I have a bungalow, a 2-bedroom bungalow. My entire basement is taken up with crafting. So there is an 8x10 bedroom down there. It's floor to ceiling, wall to wall shelving, and that's where my fabric is. Completely full to the ceiling, like it's all organized and everything. It's not just piled in a corner. And then in the center of that room, I have a big 6-foot metal table that I use for my cutting surface.
Nice.
And then on the other side of the basement, I have my sewing area set up. So that way, when I need to iron my big stuff, then I have to actually walk over to the fabric room to use the ironing board, which keeps me from sitting for too long. I do have a small pressing station right at the sewing machine, and it's also part of the rest of the craft area. There's just about every kind of craft you can imagine, because I got away from quilting for about a year and a half until I found you, actually. And you were the one that got me back into the quilting thing. I just lost my quilt mojo, and I just wasn't interested. So I was doing all kinds of painting and inking and all that stuff. So of course I went full tilt into buying all the supplies for that.
Yes.
Now I'm not doing that stuff so much, although I am trying to combine crafts. So like yesterday, I had the ink tents out and I was coloring on fabric, so I can use that into making some bags.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You know, it's that's what I've been trying to do, because like you, I'm also a crafter. I didn't get into quilting until I've been crafting for years and years,
Yeah.
you know, and then I got into quilting. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to blend the two worlds. And when you were showing the other day on Craft and Chat that you were using the ink tense blocks, that's the word I want, on the fabric, you know, I've thought about trying that. Haven't done it yet, but that's kind of combining the two worlds. And, you know, you're starting to create something in mixed media, which
Yeah.
is what I really like about doing this kind of stuff. So, you know, not pigeonhole yourself into one little area. There's so much more you can explore. And I think
Exactly.
that's the creative part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, and your crafting area sounds great, to have an area that large. That's what I'm hoping for at some point in time, if I redo my craft room. But yeah, we'll wait and see how that works out. So,
I
yeah.
used to have laminate flooring on the floor in the basement, but Christmas Day 2019, my hot water tank blew up.
Ooh.
And flooded the basement. So all the laminate flooring had to come up. So once that dried, I painted it, because I don't like any kind of surface on my floor. I'd rather have concrete floor. I love that. With the paint on it, it's nice and smooth, easy to keep clean.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about it flooding or whatever.
Right. I was going to ask you kind of about the flooring, because in my craft room, this room was originally, when we moved into the house 26 years ago, it was a new home. It was considered the family room, sort of downstairs, and like our basement's completely finished, but it's carpeting on the floor. And if I was ever to redo it, I would pull up the carpeting, and I was thinking of having like sort of hardwood or laminate put down on it.
I would never recommend wood flooring in a basement, just because if you get
Water.
if something happens, then yeah, it's very expensive and difficult to treat. But if you went with like a linoleum tile or something like that, it'd be more economical. It'd be waterproof, really. And nice and smooth and easy to sweep up. Not so beautiful, maybe, but you could make some jelly roll rugs.
Well, true.
Put them on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Well, that's great. Okay, so my next question is, what's your favorite tool or technique, or both?
Okay, for my favorite tool, I'm going to have to say my Janome. I really love it.
What model do you have?
The 6500 professional, or whatever it's called. I don't know. It's quite old anyway.
Yeah.
I've only had to have repairs made on it once, and that was because there was there's plastic camshafts or something inside the Janome, and that just got worn out because I didn't understand about maintenance and cleaning and all that kind of stuff. So damaged it and had to have it replaced. Other than that, I haven't had any issues with it. My next favorite tool would be my big cutting mat and my rotary cutter. You know, like I use them all the time. I really like them.
And do you have a favorite technique?
Not really.
No.
I mix and match stuff. I'm fairly by the seat of my pants. I design a lot of my quilts on EQ8.
Yeah.
I enjoy the whole process. The only thing I don't enjoy about quilting is the actual quilting at the end of it. I just hate that. And the binding. I don't enjoy it at all. It's a chore. But everything else, especially the shopping, that's my favorite part.
I think so, yeah. You and I are of the same mind on that. I'm not a fan of the quilting part or the binding as much, but the shopping, I love the shopping.
Yeah, all about the shopping.
Then
walking into your fabric room and looking at it, and it's like you're rich beyond belief.
Yeah, you just want to get naked and roll in piles of fabric. Yeah. Well, that's an image we don't need, is it? So, okay, so moving on there. Now, if you had all the money in the world, what one piece of equipment would you invest in?
It wouldn't be equipment as much as a studio. You
Mm,
know, like go big or stay home, I say.
yep.
You got all the money in the world, I'd fill my entire backyard with a studio. That's what I
Yes.
would do. And I would have it designed specifically for all of my different crafts. So there would be an area for everything. Well,
Oh,
quilting for sure, and maybe wet work on a different area.
yeah. We're definitely on the same line. I've often thought of that too. We don't use our backyard. If I had all the money in the world, I would do the same thing. I would build another building where it
Yeah,
would be nothing but all my crafting, my quilting, a wet area, everything in there.
yeah,
We can dream, can't we? Have
yeah,
to start buying those lottery tickets.
yeah.
Moving on then, have you ever belonged to a guild or an online group, related to any of your crafts?
No, not never a guild. My only experience with the guild was my mother belonged to several different ones. My mom and dad moved a lot, so whenever I would go to visit her, I would be able to go to a meeting with her. And some of them were, well, one in particular was excellent in Vernon, BC. Um, the other one, not so much. It wasn't very good at all. And as a matter of fact, she stopped going and she just canceled her membership. Now she belongs to a sewing group, and I I've tried to find a quilting buddy close by. Um, haven't had a lot of luck because most of the ladies around here, and it is mostly ladies that do the
Mm,
quilting
yeah.
around, they are retired people, and their schedules and mine didn't mesh at all because
Mm,
was still working full time. I'm down to part time now, anyways, so that's good.
yeah.
um, I even went out for lunch one time. I met up with this woman in a town. She was from further up north, so we met halfway and went out for lunch, thinking that maybe that could be my quilting buddy, but no, it
No.
wasn't to be. We didn't have the same kind of vibe at all, so that didn't work out. Now, one of the girls that I work with, and I call her girl, although she's almost my age, um, I've converted her into a quilter. So she's bought a sewing machine. She picked one up on Marketplace for a Singer machine for $50 or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And I've given her some fabric because I have a little bit of fabric. So I gave her a bit of fabric to start her off. She bought her first cutting mat and her first rotary cutter. So I give her a pattern, and I kind of started her off on a very simple pattern to start a table runner, and got her started on that. So I guess that's the long answer to not really. I don't really have a quilting group that I
Yeah.
belong to.
It's hard, to find one that you feel at home in. I did belong to one, but I don't belong to it anymore.
No,
I just,
I'm
yeah,
aware.
yeah, I'm not going to get into it here, but yeah, I had that. So moving on, what's your favorite? So you're in Alberta, so what's your favorite store for supplies and materials, or do you have anything near you?
I do, but nothing that I go to in person. I'm an introvert, believe it or not, and the less I have to be out and around people, the happier I
Mm,
am. So COVID has been awesome for me because I don't feel guilty about not going out. So,
right.
but I do a lot of shopping online. Amazon for some items, not very much for quilting.
Yeah.
Um, Now, I did write down a list of all the different ones that I've been dealing with just in the last couple of
Yeah.
months. Hamels is one in
Hmm.
BC. Dinky Doos, I've dealt with them quite a bit actually. I did buy a batting from them, a roll of batting when they had that big sale
Yeah.
on.
I did too.
Not very happy with it though.
Oh, you're not?
No, It's beautiful batting, but I found when I actually started quilting, I found it was really, really thin.
Oh,
So, I mean, I could probably double up on it. I'm going to
yeah.
use it for sure. And it was beautiful. It came off the roll smooth, not a single wrinkle in it. It was gorgeous.
Hmm.
But it was just so fragile to handle when I was actually quilting on it.
Hmm.
So I just
Now
have,
I'm worried.
well, no, just, you just have to use a little bit of care, because
Yeah.
it did kind of pull apart quite easily.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure. I thought I had ordered stuff with scrim, but
Hmm.
I don't know anymore what I ordered.
Okay.
Okay, so Dinky Doot Northgate, of course,
Yep.
Peachtree. They
Yep.
are one of my favorites. Sparrow, which is local, and I've got a box of 100 black and white fat quarters to pick up today from the post office. A new one that I found around the Calgary area is called jellyroll.com, and they
Hmm.
have some pretty reasonable prices there.
Jellyroll.com. I'm writing that one
Yeah,
down because I love jelly rolls.
yeah, they had quite a bit of that kind of stuff. And pretty much if I hear a name on a Canadian YouTube that I know I can get it, because that's I'm shopping in Canada.
Yeah.
I don't, I used to do a lot of shopping in the States online, but it's just not worth it
No.
anymore. It's just too expensive and
Yeah, that's what
takes
I
too
found
long.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So and I like to support Canadian
Yep.
businesses too. So
Yep.
yeah.
That's exactly what I do too. Well, so who are your favorite experts or sources for information or inspiration?
Well, there's quite a list of them because each person brings something different to the game. Like I said, you were the one that got me back into the quilting, so I'd have to say you.
Oh,
I
well,
know
thank you.
you're not an expert,
Yeah.
but you still inspire people, so that's a good thing. I like your manner; it's
Oh,
awesome.
well, thank you. I'm
Um,
blushing.
other people, Darlene Michaud, you've mentioned her
Mm-hmm.
before. I followed her for a while. I find her fascinating to listen to. She won't allow comments anymore at all.
No.
Um, she's yeah, she brings something interesting for sure. Crumb quilting was a big one. That's
Mm-hmm.
I started doing that because of her. Erica Ernst. I watch her for her bag making and all that kind of stuff. She's really clear about it. Quilt Roadies. I
Mm-hmm.
watch Anna
Yep.
because she does the squirrel thing too. So we're like kindred sisters.
Yep.
Missouri Star Quilt Company because I love Jenny Doan. I
Yep.
mean, how can you not?
Yeah, exactly.
Gourmet Quilter. She's from Australia. Green Mountain Quilts, and that one I just started watching. She does mosaic quilts and explains it very clearly how you can do it. And usually you can do these things with supplies that you have on hand. So I really enjoy watching her. Jordan Fabrics, of
Yep.
course, because she is so clear and concise. Krista Moser and Lisa Capin, and there's a whole bunch of other ones, but I didn't write them down because there's so
No.
many. Oh, and the Quilting Marine. Have you
Oh,
seen
yep.
him?
Yes, I have. Yep.
He did like a what do you call it? A crumb block, and he did an illusion block pattern with it. It is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm hoping to start on something like that soon.
Yeah. Well, I've been making notes as the ones that I don't know that on here, so I can go check them out too.
Oh
So
yeah.
that'll be great. Okay, so do you have any challenges or goals for future in terms of projects you want to attempt or work on?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah, the guitars.
Yeah, it's my dad and my brother both build guitars and they play. So my mother had this pattern, and she's not paper piecing is not her thing at all. So she gave it to me, and I've done some paper piecing before. And she said, "Why don't you make this for your dad for Christmas?" So I said, "Okay." And she said, "Make one for your brother too." So that's going to be my next challenge. It looks very simple, but the pieces are quite, I don't know if you'll be able to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
So there's
Yeah.
lots of little ones. It's going to be something I'm going to have to really concentrate on,
Yeah.
which is not my usual way of doing things. I don't listen to YouTube when I'm quilting at all. When I'm in the basement, it's dead quiet. I need to concentrate. But yeah, that one and binding all my quilts that I just finished quilting. That's my biggest goal, I suppose.
Yeah. Getting the UFOs done. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did get all my other UFO tops quilted and bound and finished. And then this was my latest batch. These quilts, I completed up to the quilting stage, 8 quilts since January.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a lot. And some of them were blocks. I found I had a block of the month thing, and I only got half of it done. So I think there was probably 8 of the blocks were finished, and I still had 8 more blocks to do. So I had to finish that and assemble it. So some of the stuff was from scratch, and some of them were blocks I had already started on. And I finally got them done. So
yeah.
I'm feeling very accomplished and smug.
I think you should. Yes. I look at all my UFOs and go, I really got to get those done. So you're kind of inspiring me to get to those.
Oh, good.
So next question, how would you describe yourself as an artist? And the reason I say that an artist, as far as I'm concerned, anybody who does any kind of creative work is an artist, whether it be quilting, whether it be mixed media, whatever. An artist is not just somebody who gets paid for their art or has it hanging in a museum somewhere. So how would you describe yourself as an artist?
I would say I'm probably an adventurous explorer.
Ooh, that's good.
I like learning new things. And, I may... I'll see something that'll catch my interest and I'll give it a go. And if I like it, then I'll get everything I need to do it. And then I'll promptly drop it and move on to the next thing. So, and that's a bad habit that I have of doing. But I figure eventually I'm going to be using everything I have. I'm hoping anyways. So that's why I say kind of an explorer. Quilting is the one thing that I've stuck to the longest. I used to do ceramics, even bought a kiln, bought the molds, all that kind of stuff. It's dirty work.
Yeah.
It wasn't as much fun as quilting, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Talking about using up all your supplies. Well, I'll have to live to be 1,000 years old to use up everything. That's for sure. But yep, I know what you mean about going from one project to another project. That's why I have UFOs, because I'm like, oh, squirrel. Okay. I like this one. I want to do that. As much as I say to myself, I am not going to start something new until I get this one done. Yeah, I never stick to that.
Oh, I don't either. I do what I want when I want. I don't care. If something sits there for 10 years, it sits there for 10 years. And when I go back to it, I may be more skilled and able to complete it the way it should be completed. That's the way I look at it. I tell myself these things to make me feel better.
Actually, I agree with that philosophy. I do. Yeah. I do the same thing. And, it's not a race. It's supposed to be fun. When it stops being fun, I don't want to do it anymore. So
well, and you probably just ruin it if you try to force yourself to do it. So if I'm not enjoying it, I put it aside and I go back to it when I'm in a better frame of mind for it. And
Yeah.
that works pretty good for me.
Yeah. My last question is, do you have any advice for anyone who may be getting started in, say, quilting?
As a matter of fact, what you just finished saying kind of ties into it. Um, when I started quilting, it was always a race. Always had to get the project finished, and I'd just be going full speed ahead. I was not careful with my seams and my cutting and all that. So you get what you put into it,
Yeah.
basically. Over the years, I've realized that I need to slow down on that and enjoy the journey of getting to the end. It's not the destination that's important. And I think this can be applied to a lot of things in life. Um, I, when I was in the military, I always said, when I get out of the military and become a civvy, this is what I'm going to do. Well, why wait until something 10 years or 15 years in the future when you can start something now and enjoy it? Just slow down and take it easy.
Yep. Yep. I agree with you totally on that too. The same thing when I first got into quilting, it was like, let's see how many things I can get done in a month and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now it's like, if my mood has gone this way, then I'm going to work on this thing. And, I've always got several things at once. And I think that's the way to be. I mean, I'm retired. So, it's time to take things easy and do what I want. Don't have to be on somebody else's schedule.
That's right.
So that's great. So for just summing up and finishing up here, is there anything else you'd like to add that you think people should know or anything? Or have we covered everything?
I think we've pretty much covered everything. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you were my first interview, and I thank you so much for being, I know, guinea pig, but I think this went along quite well. And now I'm really thinking that what I might do is publish this as a separate thing on my YouTube channel, because it's just, I don't want to take away from it. You gave us all kinds of interesting advice, interesting sites to go to, a wealth of information in this interview. So thank you so much for that. And I'm going to stop the recording right now, but I'm just going to come back to you in a minute. So thank you so much, Yvonne, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
I would encourage everybody to sign up for doing this. I really would, because I think everybody can learn something from somebody else, maybe other tips and resources out there.
Yeah,
so I think
I
it's
agree.
a great thing you're doing.
Well, thank you. Okay, well, thanks, Yvonne.